Whoa! Pivot for that. How long will it take? I didn't know that. We have a new member welcoming. I know that you were going to. I didn't know it was today. I didn't think.
Well, I was supposed to met last Sunday. But if you're here, I'm happy to.
Oh, thank you, Rennie. Oh, where'd you go?
In twofold, I was told it'll be done here.
Okay. Let me tell Kate. Oops, I'm making a mess of things.
Okay?
Yes. Carol. That's you.
Would all those who are currently members of the please rise and join with me in the words and welcome and then say welcome.
And it's there. It will also be up on the screen.
Okay.
But we do have the inserts.
Okay. And the inserts is okay. Good. I can read from that as well.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
Sanibonani. As many of you know, I was born in South Africa, and as you know too, we've just had an election there, and it's touch and go. It was a very peaceful election, but which way it's going to go now with all the coalitions that are going to be formed is up in the air. Any rate, in South Africa there are 11 official languages. One group of languages called the Nguni group, isiZulu, iXhosa, Eswatini, and Indebele. In these languages, which are spoken by the majority of the people in the country, when you greet someone, you don't say hi or hello or good day. You say siyawubona, which means I am seeing you. I acknowledge you as a person. And the response is, yebo. Siyawubona futhi. Yes, I see you also. I acknowledge you as a person. And after the greeting, the conversation may continue, Kunjani na, how are you? And the response usually is, Giyaphila, I am living, or Giyakhona, I am here. This is all part of Ubuntu, that aspect of African spirituality about which I'll be speaking at a service later in the summer. So, this morning I greet you, Sawubona.
And now we're going to sing Sawubona to each other. So our sing-along prelude for June, that's nice, is in not English for the first time, so you have a new exciting challenge for you this morning to sing along with. So I'll sing one phrase, and you can repeat it back. Sawubona, sawubona. Let's try that. Sawubona, sawubona. Sawubona sikhona. Sawubona sikhona. Sawubona, sawubona. Sawubona, sawubona, sikhona ubuntu.
Sikhona ubuntu.
Good, let's do that one more time. Sikhona ubuntu.
Sikhona ubuntu.
Very nice, let's try it all together, and we'll repeat it a few times to get you used to it and get you comfortable to it, so, right? Sawubona, sawubona, sawubona sikhona. Sawubona, sawubona, sikhona ubuntu. Sawubona, sawubona, sawubona sikhona. Sawubona, sawubona, sikhona ubuntu. Sawubona, sawubona, sawubona sikhona. Sawubona, sawubona, sikhona ubuntu. Thank you. And thank you, Alex, for that wonderful introduction, giving you some context on this piece.
Bonjour tout le monde. Who thought that you'd be singing in Zulu this morning? We got there. You did great. Now,
This is a rehearsal.
no test at all. Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome everyone to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa, whether you are here in Worship Hall or watching from wherever you may be, know that you are welcome. I'm the Reverend Eric Meter, the lead minister here, and
I'm Kate, your worship associate. We acknowledge that our FirstU campus is located on traditional, unsurrendered, and unceded Algonquin Anishinaabeg territory, and that the work of reconciliation is a responsibility of our congregation and of all Canadians. Our goal is to educate ourselves and all those that have the willingness to understand, to be of service to those who are at risk, and to advocate for justice. Let's join our voices in song once more. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together just the first 3 verses of Wake Now My Senses. It's number 298 in the gray hymnal. The lyrics will also be on the screen above.
please be seated. Is there someone, hint, 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 who can help me, hint, 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 light the chalice today? I've got a lot of words to say for this, more than usual anyhow, so I could use a little assistance. Oh, terrific. We got it, we got it. We light our chalice flame this morning to these words from Gretchen Haley. Though you have been warned and given plenty of explanations, reasons to do otherwise, you have persisted to claim a life of joy and justice and to carve out this time for renewal of your own heart, despite the din demanding your attention, luring you towards fear and cynicism. You persist with gratitude for this day, this life that has been given, this chance to begin again, despite all the forces of fragmentation, the disappointing ways we fail each other, fail ourselves. We must refuse to let grief undo us, or to let our dreams get lost along the way. In spite of all the evidence, we keep showing up at the edge of our own longing, and then we keep going, remembering this duty we have to life in a greater sense, this duty we have to each other, our children, their children, this hope that is also a choice we make, this promise we fight for, to persist in kindness, persevere in compassion, and prevail in a life that is bound entirely to love. Our chalice is lit. Come, let us worship together as we begin by singing our chalice song. Jen?
Chalice, chalice, burning bright, and remind us with your light of how we'd like to live each day with love and joy, helping lead the way.
Jody, do you have a story for us?
I sure do.
I need a story.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jody McIntosh. I'm the Director of Religious Exploration, and I invite anyone young or young at heart to come and join me up at the front here for a story. So today we have Jet Pig with us once again in this beautiful little value garden that they brought us quite a few weeks ago now. Leonard says there's only one more left. There's only one more stick. He's right, but we do have another week ahead of us too. Okay. You can see that we have planted the seeds of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, and interdependence in our little garden. Have you planted these seeds in the garden of your heart? I know I have. Each week, Jet Pig will bring us a new seed to plant in our garden. Let's see which one they brought today. The seed of generosity. What does generosity mean to Unitarian Universalism? Generosity is when we cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. It means we share our faith, our presence, and resources freely and compassionately. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of caring and support. I have a little story about the generous garden. I think garden seems to be our theme for the last couple weeks. In a vibrant garden, sunflowers stretch tall, casting cool shade for smaller plants. Juicy strawberries peeked from the leaves, promising a sweet surprise. Nearby, peas huddled in their pods, their joy hidden but waiting to be shared. One sunny day, a butterfly named Flicker fluttered past the colorful blooms. The garden was beautiful, but a tiny voice inside them whispered, "It feels a little lonely." Wishing for a friend to share this paradise with, Flicker landed on a rose, its petals soft and fragrant. A wise old oak tree, standing in the garden with its branches heavy with leaves, rustled gently in the breeze. The oak had witnessed countless seasons in the garden and knew the secret of true happiness. As Flicker sighed, the oak leaves whispered, "Generosity is the key to a joyful garden. How can you share the beauty of this place?" Flicker paused, her wings still. Then with a determined flutter, she darted towards the strawberry patch. The juicy red fruit gleamed in the sunlight, and Flicker, ever so gently, carried a plump strawberry towards a busy bumblebee buzzing by. The bumblebee, surprised and delighted, enjoyed the sweet treat. Suddenly inspired, the bumblebee buzzed from flower to flower, carrying pollen with every flit. The garden came alive. Butterflies of all colors danced through the air, their wings shimmering like stained glass. Busy bees buzzed happily, and the sweet scent of flowers filled the air. Flicker, the little butterfly who once felt lonely, watched the joyful scene unfold. She realized that by sharing the garden's bounty and her own friendly spirit, she had created a place of happiness for everyone. Generosity, like the pollen carried by the bee, had spread joy throughout the garden. So with that, we will mark the spot in our garden with our stick that says generosity. I forgot. First, we have to plant our seed of generosity. Do you want to help me, Leonard? There's some space right over there. Thank you. So we plant the seed of generosity. We plant the idea that when we share what we have, our happiness grows too. Just like Flicker, we can all be generous. We can share our toys with friends, help someone in need, or even offer a kind word. Every act of generosity, big or small, helps to create a kinder and more joyful world for everyone. Now we will mark the spot with our stick that says generosity. Do you want to help me, Leonard? Okay, I'll do it. So as we mark our spot, we remember our commitment to sharing our kindness and making the world a better, brighter place while feeling gratitude for what is shared with us. As our garden grows, so too will our understanding of generosity. Together we can cultivate a world where kindness and hope bloom for everyone. So join us next week when we share our final value, love, the value at the center of it all. So I invite you, as per our tradition, as we sing the children out, to create an archway for us to go under. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody, Jen, all the children. As our health challenges continue, do take care, take advantage of online opportunities at FirstU to stay in touch or participate in in-person activities too. If you are new to FirstU and like to learn more about us, please contact us through our email at welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca. If you're right here in Worship Hall with us this morning and would like more information about FirstU, it's available at the welcome table at the back of the pews. And now to begin, here's Rule, who has a special announcement, and then we'll hear from Carmen from our board, who will highlight some further announcements for today.
First Unitarian is the home of a farm. In the back room over here, we have a vertical farm with greenery that salad greenery that is yours for the taking. This is a project of the Jasky activity, which is an undertaking of socialization for Aboriginal young people, which is aided by volunteers from the church here. And while it's free for the taking, if you wish to make a contribution when you do your harvesting in the farm, you may do so. There's a small basket there for donations, or donations can be made by check to the congregation, writing a Jasky on the check so that it gets appropriately forwarded. That's AJASHKI. Or you may use one of the contribution envelopes, again indicating a Jasky on it. So help yourself to the greenery, and it's without pesticides, and it's certainly fresher than you can buy in the store because it's right from the farm.
Thank you, Raul. I have a few announcements here from the board. So we'll start with number 1. This past Friday, Unitarian House held a celebration of its 40th anniversary, having been established in 1984 through the vision and dedicated work of a number of First Unitarian members, including Werner Deschel. I don't think Werner is with us today, but he was certainly here on Friday. Reverend Eric assisted with the celebrations along with many First Unitarian members who are Unitarian House residents. Several members of the First Unitarian Board attended the event and helped extend congratulations to Unitarian House. Now I'm going to go back to what Ruel was talking about, Ajashki. The Ajashki Youth Employment Program relies on grant funding to keep afloat, which means Ajashki relies on multiple grant researching and grant writing volunteers to keep going. If any of you have experience in writing grant proposals or program evaluations, or even a talent for writing persuasively, they would welcome you in their circle of support. To find out more about this opportunity to contribute to an exciting reconciliation project, please contact Ajashki at firstunitarianottawa.ca. Join the Embracing Diversity Committee, EDC, on Monday, June 10 at 7 p.m. for their online Pride Planning meeting, where they will plan First Unitarians' involvement in the summer's Ottawa Capital Pride Week parade. That includes the parade and/or the community fair, as well as our own annual Pride service. All are welcome to attend. Email for this event is diversity@firstunitarianottawa.ca for the Zoom link. Now, when it comes to obsolete electronics, the Environmental Action Group encourages you to take the opportunity to recycle your electronic waste. Please check out the Climate Action page at FirstU's website for dates and times. And finally, the Canadian Unitarian Universalist Women's Association annual tea and general meeting online is today, Sunday, June 2nd at 4:30 p.m. The CUUWA invites all interested persons to their yearly meeting on Zoom. Dr. Denise Cloutier will be speaking on income precarity for older women, sharing insights from her recent research with older women who have experienced housing insecurity, discussing the pathways that have led women to be precariously housed, and recommendations for system improvements. See the EUU for the link to the meeting. And now here is Carl Sonnen with some Compassion Sparks.
Thank you very much, Carmen. So I'm part of the Cultivating Compassion community, which is, I'm a member, and Nina is a member, and Lisa and Jane, and Eva. And it's our current focus on cultivating compassionate community within our congregation, which is our focus. And I'm just going to read to you from a book by Barbara Myers, who is a Unitarian Universalist minister with a psychiatric history. And her ministry is now in Fremont, California, and she ministers specifically to people with mental health disabilities. This is on hope. Even though being present, listening, and affirming can be enough, there are also helpful things you can say. Hope is the most powerful message that you can give a person who is struggling with mental illness and other mental health problems. Dr. Reagans, quoted, has said that hope is the first stage in recovery from mental health problems. All people need hope when they are struggling with something important. It's understandable to be concerned about making empty promises or offering false hope, but there are ways to give true hope. I have personal experience of the importance of hope to people struggling with mental illness. I remember my first time in the psychiatric hospital, suffering from major depression and feeling utterly hopeless. When the doctor said he could help me, I only half believed him. When my family said they loved me, I didn't see how they could. But when a fellow patient told me how she had improved, I started to feel hope for myself. This is one of the reasons I believe peer support is so important. And I'm also on the mental health support and action group, which meets every third Sunday, although that's being organized. And now I have another announcement to make regarding the principle of generosity, which was mentioned during the children's story. There's a 20-week challenge to bring in a list of items here, one a week. And if you're away for a week, you can double up and bring something the next week. And we're collecting it for the food bank. And you can also, if you manage to complete the list, you can submit your name for a potential gift of a concert at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. We encourage you to sign up to receive the EUU, our weekly email newsletter. Sign-up information is available on our website under the Communications tab and as a QR code on the back of our printed programs. Check our Facebook and Instagram pages and our website for notices and updates. Our calendar continues to be as full as ever, though some of our activities take place online. This morning, each of us is welcome.
Carmen, Carl, Rule, thank you. Each week we pause in our time together in recognition of the joys and sorrows in our lives and across the globe. We honor our celebrations and challenges by placing stones in bowls of water. As the ripples extend outward, imagine them continuing out beyond these small bowls, out through and past our pews, out into the larger community of all. A stone of celebration, and finally, on Tuesday, First Nation MPP Saul Mamakwa addressed the Ontario legislature in his own language, Oji Cree, marking the first time in the province's history that a language other than French or English was permitted in the chamber for official purposes. Congratulations. That is something to be part of. And I think through Ajaski and other endeavors, hint, hint, we're doing just that. And also a stone for Mantha, who is recovering at home and awaiting rehab. A stone for care, a stone for patience. Please come forward now if you have a stone of sorrow or challenge or joy to share. Please come forward. That last stone, as always, is placed of recognition of all that remains in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. A caring card for Mantha is at the back of the hall for us to sign, and I was corrected. She is still in the hospital, so your signature on a card for her will mean even more. Please sign that if you haven't already as you exit the room. It's at the caring table in the back corner. And let us move now into a time of stillness and reflection. After several moments, Jen will bring us back together through the gift of music. Becoming officially a member of this congregation is both simple and complicated, both an ending and a beginning. It's simple in that all that is required is that to apply for membership and accept our expectation that you contribute financially and engage your time and interest with us as best you can. It's complicated in that the responsibility for finding spiritual meaning in your life and meaning in your membership here lies ultimately with you. You will get lots of support and encouragement here, as well as questions and challenges, for the simplicity of our membership requirement goes hand in hand with our support and challenge of one another. It is the end of your looking for a faith community to join, we hope. It is the beginning of your commitment and growth within this faith community. It is now our great joy to welcome those who have recently decided to make the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa their spiritual home. I would like to ask Chuck Shields, our board's new president, and Carol Card of our welcome and membership team to join me now.
On behalf of the Welcome and Membership team, I will now call up a number of new members. So please come up to join us here when you hear your name, so on either side. So Ali Hobson, Mark Brunet, is Mark here? Mark is not. Brenda Hemming, Anne Orfald, Mary Ellen Ono, Chris Dushinsky, Peter Dushinsky, Galaxy Wozniak. Do we have the hand mic? Okay. Oh, Eric does, okay. Good. There's room here too, either side. Yeah, a couple people could go there, good. So those who wish to may now give their name, and we will be passing the mic around, and just a couple of sentences, if they wish, about their congregational interests. So we'll do that now.
I'm Peter Dushinsky. I've had a rather long life and searched for all sorts of things, including spirituality. And it's kind of interesting and strange that I really have found it here.
Hi, I'm Chris Dushinsky. I'm Peter's wife. And we have spent many years talking about spiritual and world issues, and we're very happy to be part of this congregation. And I'll pass it to Galaxy.
Hi, my name's Galaxy Wozniak. My pronouns are they, them. I come from a Mormon background, and I just wanted to try to find a spiritual community where I could be myself without any judgments, and I seem to have found it here, and I look forward to serving everyone.
I'm Mary Ellen Ono. A year ago, I moved into Unitarian House, and I have been a Unitarian since the 60s, first in Morristown, New Jersey at a fellowship, and then in Massachusetts at a church, and then in Harvard, Massachusetts, Halifax, Nova Scotia at a church, small church, and then I'm here, so it seems like the right place to be.
I'm Anne Orfald. Excuse me. I've been a Universalist, or UU, all my life. What brings me here is moving to Ottawa after the death of my husband and feeling the need to be closer to my kids. and moving in next door, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm Brenda Hemming. Never joined a church before in my life until I came here. I born in England, where you were automatically a member of the Church of England unless you declared otherwise, and I've never thought anything of it or felt inspired to join any of the other churches I went to since I left the UK, but there's something special about UU. I was inspired to come here after I was fortunate enough to have Lisa Boulay officiate at my husband's funeral. She was so wonderful. Everything she said resonated with me, and so I'm very happy to be here. I've been taking workshops here to help me in my spiritual journey, and yeah, very happy to be here.
Hi everyone, I'm Allie Hobson. I was raised Unitarian, going to the congregation in Montreal. I'm going to use my little bit of time to just say, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people at the Ottawa congregation don't appear to be aware that there's a Unitarian summer camp in Ontario, just an hour north of Toronto, and we go every year. There are family weeks, kids camp weeks, youth weeks, and so we're looking forward to seeing if there's anyone who wants to start joining us there from this congregation.
I just have one more thing to say. So we have a few additional new members to welcome as well. Carol Pearson, Catherine Pope, Stan Pope, Marilyn Johnson, and Sharon O'Sullivan. And Sharon has provided a short statement, which I will read on her behalf because she can't be here today. Sharon says, I look forward to continuing to participate in the house band and the adult religious education courses, and eventually to helping out with a jashki and possibly interfaith activities.
So I'm going to extemporize for a moment here before moving into the official things, just to say how pleased I am that we have this opportunity to welcome a new group of members who sought to join us in our faith community. So early on in my term as president, it's really exciting to see. Now, I think when you all came in your order of service, you received a little slip of paper. Would all those who are currently members of the congregation please rise and join me and the others in words of welcome that are printed in that service. Here in this church, we have gathered for generations, seeking a greater purpose and deeper life than we could find alone, seeking to work together to build a better community than we could achieve alone. We are grateful today for each one of you that you have found your way here and that you have decided to share our commitment to this faith community. We welcome both your questions and your enthusiasms. I now invite the new members to join us, and I think they have it's hard for them to see the screen from where they are, though. So, over to you, new members.
We join our strengths, talents, and commitments with yours. We are glad to be here.
And now over to Reverend Eric. Yes, applause.
Chuck, I'm going to hand this to you. We also extend you can sit down. We also extend a special welcome to the children and grandchildren of our new members. We celebrate their presence among us, and we commit ourselves to helping them grow and helping them and you, all of us, grow and learn and to make each of us an integral part of this community. And if you're not aware of what book we are making a gift of for them, it's Jacqueline's History of the First 50 Years. Is that right?
Yes.
Looking Forward at the Past, a history of the Unitarian congregation by Joycelyn Luffelholtz-Ray. Forgive me. You want another? You can have two. This is what happens when you don't rehearse, folks. The minister gets it wrong. Blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of community. Blessed are those who know that the work of the church is both the enrichment of the individual and the transformation of society, who have a vision of a beloved community that helps make each day a true celebration of love and life. And as our newest members return to their seats, let me invite the rest of you to rise in body or in spirit. Let us sing together once more this morning. We're going to sit at the welcome table. You'll find it in the gray hymnal as 405. The lyrics will also be on the screen above.
I'm just going to say one word.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Just invite the new members, if they wish, to leave their rose in the vase and pick it up when they leave, or they can keep it with them. But we can put the vase just down here, and then you can pick it up at the end. And to say to everyone that we will continue our celebration in coffee hour and fellowship hour. We have cupcakes so that we can continue to celebrate our new members. So welcome to that.
We're going to go long today. That's an announcement. I was once at a Christian church where they had two little dolls like that up here. It was a lion and a lamb. Ever since then, I've been looking for a lion and a lamb. If you find any, get one. I'll reimburse you. Bring it in. As Carmen mentioned, this last Friday morning, the congregation hosted the Unitarian House of Ottawa's 40th anniversary celebration right here in this room. The present and a former mayor were present, as well as our current city councilor. A choir sang and led everyone in singing along with them, and our own Alec Campbell was master of ceremonies. It was a wonderful event. And if I'm remembering correctly, it was just before the start of the celebration that a member of our congregation and a Unitarian house resident sitting just over there asked me, "Reverend Eric, what's a sermon?" And my immediate response is one I am not proud of, and I will share it with you. On a Friday morning, I'm afraid that question is above my pay grade. Well, it's no longer Friday morning, so bear with me, please. And I'm sure this is one of those questions that elicits a fair number of worthy responses. In faith traditions with a lectionary cycle, sermons may be reflections on Scripture with an aim to educate and or guide people into a closer relationship with God. In our tradition, Ralph Waldo Emerson once said that sermons should be the reflections on the experience of living passed through the fire of thought. That's from Harvard Divinity School address of 1835. So there. And in seminary, our preaching instructor highlighted the role sermons play in the larger conversation within any given faith community. Of course, those do not comprise an exhaustive list, but it's the last one that I want to lift up for us today. You see, I was gone for about a week, got back late Tuesday night, and before I left, Mariella, who gave an exemplary talk here last week in my absence, she and I talked about what she was going to say, and if I'm remembering right, Mariella, you wanted to run your title by me, Being Unitarian, the Gift of Herding Cats. Was that kosher? And I hope I said something like, kosher, it's true. How can it not be kosher? And what I don't think I said to you, Mariella, was, damn it, Eric, when are you going to be bold enough to pick a title like that? And when she mentioned what she wanted to say, I let her know that I loved it. And in fact, what she was going to say and what she did say sounded like a perfect way to set the stage for what I wanted to convey to you this morning. And when I said that to you, Mariella, I didn't realize how true it was going to be. This is an excerpt from the reading Mariella chose for last week from William Scholz's book, Finding Time and Other Delicacies. Our worship associate shared this. Whatever the reason we are affiliated with a congregation, be it for friendship or feasting, music or musing, to discover life's meaning or find a new mate, the heart of the experience is the Sunday morning service of worship. It's our common experience, the common denominator of our time together, if you will. Scholz continues, occasionally, every one of us runs into someone who claims that she or he is a spiritual person, but has no need to participate in a religious community. This is the I get my religion from a walk in the woods refrain. Hold that thought. Many of you will know that my wife Ann and I are now a two-household family once again. I spoke about this at our annual meeting early last month. In short, Ann had a hard time finding suitable and profitable work here in Ottawa. She loved her job helping current and former provincial police link up with mental health care services, but it didn't pay well. And after a year and a half, she realized that phone work from home was not a long-term strategy for mental or physical health. When she got a call about a job in her former field of organ donation, she took it. The call, that is. And after 5 interviews, she now has what we hope will be her dream job come true, supporting and training organ donation, family service, and hospital development staff. The catch, the job's in Boston. But she and I, we've done this 2-household thing before. And in those cases, there was over almost 2,000 miles between us. Boston's close by, relatively. So a week ago on Monday of the long weekend, after preaching on Sunday and cleaning the house, took a while, I drove down to visit her after a month there and to check out her new digs. What I didn't know, what I hadn't realized, and this is the thing where relying on GPS is less of an experience than using maps. If I had used a map, I would have gotten it. But Anne lives 4 kilometers south of Walden Pond. Does Walden Pond mean anything to you? Raise your hand. Oh, you're an educated crowd, but we knew that. Growing up Unitarian Universalist, Walden Pond is the ultimate place to take that proverbial walk in the woods and get your religion. For those of you who may not know, a very quick summary here. Back in the mid-1800s, a guy named Henry David Thoreau built himself a little cabin there on land that was owned by Ralph Waldo Emerson, who I mentioned earlier, and lived for 2 years, noticing life on a very different scale from life in town, let alone any city. Here's Walden Pond today. Do we have the slide, Julia? I'm sorry. We may or... Oh, the one before that. I think there's one before that. Is there one before that? There may not be. Anyhow, it's a really beautiful lake. I took a great picture. But that, in the stones, you can barely see, that's where Thoreau's cabin was, cottage to us in Canada. Really, really tiny. Oh, there we go. That's what Walden Pond looked like a week ago Wednesday afternoon at about 4 o'clock. And it's called the pond. It's really a little lake. And the wooden sign, you probably can't read, is probably the most popular quote from his book, Walden. And it says, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not when I came to die, discovered that I had not lived." He went on to say, "I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put a rout to all that was not life, to cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms, and if it provided to be mean, why then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it, and to publish its meanness to the world, or if it were sublime, to know it by experience, and to be able to give a true account of it in my next excursion." Thoreau was looking during those 2 years for an experience of depth. Now, as someone born into our faith, Walden Pond, someplace I had never been before, and I'm sure this will upset some people, it's a bit like Mecca. There aren't many places in the world that Unitarian Universalists can consider pilgrimage sites, but this is one. And I was overjoyed and amazed that somehow Anne found herself in Thoreau's backyard. And in response, she asked me, "Eric, who's Thoreau?" And I realized once again what a small pocket I live within. Now, since returning earlier this week to Ottawa, here home, I've been engaged in a little study project. Henry David Thoreau is known among Unitarian circles, in literary circles, in transcendentalist circles, but he's very much American. So I asked our Canadian-born staff and neighbors born in Canada, who have nothing to do with this congregation, if and or what they knew about Thoreau. In general, not all that much, which is fine. Thoreau appeals to a bit of the American rugged individualism. And I know I'm generalizing here, but here in Canada, survival is understood as a much more community, group project, which I firmly believe is closer to the truth of things. The fact that during his 2 years out in the woods at by Walden Pond, Henry David Thoreau still had his mother and sister doing his laundry is a slap in the face to those who consider him the paragon of individualism. But if by some wild chance he was able to be with us today, if we brought up that historical fact, he'd probably shrug and say, so what? To the gender, he was a product of the gender norm and privileges of his day. He didn't need to be a rugged individualist. He just needed to be Henry David Thoreau. The thing about Thoreau that is worth knowing for all of us today, Canadian anywhere, is that during his time at Walden Pond, Henry David came across a poll tax collector who wanted not 1, not 2, not 3, but 6 years of back taxes Thoreau had refused to pay in pretty much a silent protest to the Mexican-American War. Refusing to pay, Thoreau was taken to jail. Until the next day, someone, likely his aunt, paid the taxes for him against his will. This experience, see, he benefited. This is the way things were in those times. This experience was the basis for an essay he later wrote titled Civil Disobedience, which in short goes something like this. You do not support laws that are unjust, but you respect the rule of law all the same. You do your time if you're called to, all in protest to those laws that are inherently unjust. Now, I don't know if that essay, Civil Disobedience, has had the wide readership that Thoreau's book Walden has. But Gandhi read it, and it inspired his protests, nonviolent protests. Martin Luther King read it, and it inspired him as well. Walden Pond and the Concord, Massachusetts jail were the birthplace of nonviolent resistance. Henry David Thoreau was a Unitarian. Nonviolent resistance is another tradition we have given the world. To our newest members, this is the tradition you have just joined. Beware. It will ask a lot of you. If it means anything, it asks a great deal of all of us. No, we do not expect that you will get yourself jailed for your convictions, but you may. What we ask of you and of ourselves is that all of us take our convictions seriously, and that our new members, we ask you to be brave enough to call us to the same account. Just as Thoreau went to the woods to see if he could discover there the core of what living was, the core of who he was, we need to hold ourselves, each other, accountable to our deepest convictions as well. And where better to, in brave space, share our questions, our convictions, and say, well, ask one another, how can we best live these into the world? Such a place is here. Such a place is here. This is where we come to find hopefully even a little bit of inspiration and a chance to say, how can we live our best lives? So to our newest members, welcome. May the journey continue long.
I would ask the ushers to start passing the baskets. And if you're in a full pew, help us out by passing the basket along. This congregation has a long history of care, vitality, and bringing people together to move the arc of justice forward. We've been able to live into our hopes and dreams because of the generosity of those within and beyond this community. Whether you're here in Worship Hall or anywhere else, you are a part of this community. We rely on one another to keep this congregation vital and resilient. If you have any questions about how you can give, please go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how to make a donation or keep up with your pledge. Our gifts are freely given and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this community of faith, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. And now, please rise as you are willing and able to join together in our closing hymn, Here We Have Gathered, number 360 in the gray hymnal, and the lyrics will be on the screen.
Come and step inside. May
Please be seated. Before we begin to close this time of worship and reflection, a reminder that coffee hour will begin in Fellowship Hall immediately after the service. And if you are new here, or still feel new, or simply welcome a great conversation today, please pick up a green mug as you enter Fellowship Hall. Doing so will help others looking forward to great conversations find you. And as Rule mentioned earlier, leafy greens, courtesy of the good folks of Ajaski, are available to any who would like some from the grow towers in the old volunteer room near Fellowship Hall. And if you'd like to make a contribution for those greens, please do. We extinguish our chalice this morning to these brief words from Denise Levertov. But we have only begun to love the earth. We have only begun to imagine the fullness of life. How could we tire of hope? So much is in bud. Our chalice is extinguished, but our spirits remain thriving and alive. Jen, will you please bless us again by leading us in our closing song?
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Source de vie, jaillis en moi. Insufflant mon cœur, des élans de compassion, chante dans le vent, danse avec l'honneur, anime la main qui façonne la justice. Donne-nous dis-moi, c'est bon pour moi, source de vie, aimez-moi, aimez-moi.
As now we return to both the joy and the challenge of helping the world come alive with love, go with joy, go with hope, go with conviction, but always go knowing peace, my friends. Go knowing peace.